Load your ear file and stitch the die line on a new piece of stabilizer. April has one set of ears and Willow has, I believe, 6 or 7 sets of ears. And so you'll just choose an ear set and stitch that die line, and then you're going to cover the ears with 2 pieces of fabric, doll skin fabric, and just tape it over those die lines. And now we'll stitch the tack down for our ears. When you're done stitching the tack down line, trim around each ear close to the tack down and remove the stabilizer from each ear. On the open end of the ear, cut an excess tab so that you can attach them to the head later on. Here I'm showing 2 of the fairy ears, and I'm just trimming around each ear close to that tack down line. And then on the open end where it's left open, I just trim across, and then I turn the ears right side out. Load one of your face files. Your doll should come with several to choose from, or you can use one of the new faces from our faces packs, and you'll just stitch the die line for the head on a new piece of stabilizer. If you plan on making a bunch of dolls, you can use an excess piece of stabilizer scrap and just cut it to the size of your head and save that as a pattern that you can use for future so that you do not waste any fabric. Cut 2 pieces of fleece liner fabric and 2 pieces of doll skin fabric. We want to place 1 fleece piece and 1 doll skin piece right side down over the head die line with a stretch perpendicular to the grain line. Stitch the support circle for the doll joint. Remove this fabric panel from the stabilizer. It'll peel right up, right where the circle stitched. And we're going to set this piece aside. You can put a scrap piece of stabilizer over the hole that's left over or just tape over it. And here's the fabric panel that we made with the little circle on it, and we're just going to set that aside. Then we're going to take the other piece of fleece and the other piece of doll skin fabric with the stretch perpendicular to the grain line and lay it over the head die line and tape it in place. Stitch the tack down for the head. And also stitch a center line that will be at the base of the head. Before you stitch your face, remove your hoop from the machine and tape an excess piece of stabilizer on the back side of the hoop over the face die line. Now we'll stitch the face for the doll. We'll stitch the eyes first, and then the nose or mouth, and then the eyebrows if there are any. Stitch the die line for the ears. You'll tape your ears over the die lines just as they're shown here, with the ears facing into the face, and make sure they're not upside down, and just have the extra flap that you cut on the outside of the die line as shown. Here I'm showing Willow with her fairy ears as I tape her ears over the die line. Here's the tip: if you want larger fairy ears, you can just use like maybe the 8x12 fairy ears, and that'll give you bigger ears for your fairy if you're stitching a smaller doll. Now we'll stitch the tack down to secure our ears. Now, after we stitch the ears down, we'll take that back fabric panel with the circle on it, and we'll place it centered with a line at the base of the head and a 1/2 inch up from the tack down line on the face, just as I'm doing here. So a 1/2 inch away from the bottom of the face, but centered with that little line at the base of the face. And now we just tape the back piece over the face. Stitch the final tack down line. Remove all of the stabilizer. Now we'll trim all the way around our head close to the tack down line, making sure to leave a tab of fabric at the top where the gap is for turning. If you want to magnify the mouth of your baby, you can tape a magnet directly to the lips using Dr. Scholl's adhesive medical bandage, and this will hold the magnet in place after you stuff the doll and keep it from shifting. Turn your head right side out. And here is our Willow fairy head turned right side out, and you can see the support circle on the back of her head, not the front. Now that we've finished the head, up next we'll be making the torso for our baby.